Everybody, I'm Miss Priest, and today I thought you could do my lesson plans with me. So I teach 7th grade language arts, and I teach 90-minute blocks. So I have to plan for 90 minutes. Now my first block, they do get split up in the middle to go to activity and then come back to me, which is it's good and it's bad. It's good because I plan like the first 45 minutes with them, then they go to activity, they come back, and I plan, and then we do the next little 45 minutes together. But for my other two classes, it's straight 90 minutes. So I'm going to show you today how I plan for my 90-minute ELA block. I've been starting off each class so far. Right now it's October, and well, today is the first day of November, but we started reading this last month. Or I've been reading it to them. I read a chapter a day right at the beginning, and they're short chapters, but this new book, The Forgotten Girl, they are really into this book. And so I suggest, in lieu of bell ringers sometimes, bell ringers that are content driven are always, they have their place and they're good, and I do them as well. But I wanted to take a little break from that and just read to my kids. So for the first 10-15 minutes of class here lately, I've been reading The Forgotten Girl to them, and they really love that. I know it's like reading to your class is kind of elementary, but in middle school, the kids still love it just as much, and they love you to read a chapter book to them. All right, so I don't do any planning on paper. I do everything on the computer. So I'm going to switch you guys to looking at my screen to see how I do my lesson plans.
Okay guys, so I've switched to my desktop so you can see. Right here is the very first thing I go to when I plan. It's my digital planner that I have with my co-teacher who also teaches 7th grade ELA. So on this planner, which I'll have this linked down below, the very second slide is just the overview calendar that I can look at a glance. So November is right here. I can kind of get an idea of the upcoming breaks and stuff. And then the next slide is kind of like my long range plan. I have my real one linked right here. But I just have like in the little boxes brief what I'm covering for that section. So in November, it says I'm going to do like a little grammar boot camp, do some informational text, and talk about informational text structures and features, and then go into December where I do the Ebenezer Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, but the drama, the script version. And we're going to go over that and do that in December for Christmas. So we will talk about that. Because in October, we just got done with short stories because we read a lot of spooky stories, and we did a lot of Edgar Allan Poe and how does the author create mood or tone, and what's the difference between mood and tone. So we've read a lot of fiction in October, and now I kind of want to segue into some informational text, and I like to do a little grammar boot camp before I segue into more informational stuff. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to do grammar first. So we're going to be planning for week 12. This is just like a 1 week. How do I plan for a week? And I'm going to go ahead and let you know it's pretty basic. All right, so let's scroll down. I've condensed some of these slides, but this is what the week 12 overview is going to look like for me. So we're October 31st through November 4th. And you can see, I don't know how detailed your lessons have to be, but in my district, they're pretty lenient. Well, you still have to have certain things. You still have to have things, but they're not like on me, like white on rice, like some districts. And I still need to have my standard, my objective, the assessments that I'm going to be using, and evidence that I'm differentiating in the classroom. And I have, modifications and accommodations that I have to follow. So I kind of put that all in the overview on the overview slide. And you can see my standards and objectives for the week, my assessments or check for understanding grades that I'm going to be giving, and then down here, the differentiation, modifications, and accommodations that I'm going to be doing. So for this week, we're going to start in the grammar. And I've got my standards. I got a communication standard, and these are South Carolina 7th grade standards, which I have that tab pulled over here that I just copy and paste the standards from here. And then I pulled a communication standard, an inquiry standard, and a read informational text standard. Now, even though for grammar, there's not a whole lot in the standards for like grammar, things they should already know. So I chose, because I mean, like they're supposed to already have learned part of speech, but unfortunately a lot of my students still don't know parts of speech. So I mean, like that's the first place I have to hit. I can't just ignore the fact that a lot of my students don't know different parts of speech or how to identify them. I can't just skip over it and go to just the 7th grade standards. I've got to teach prior knowledge, so I've got to do that first. So my I can statements for this week are going to be, I can read independently to build reading stamina, because they're going to be reading in stations, so that'll cover that one. I can work on Lexia to build my comprehension and word fluency, because the district I work in, we have to, use a program called Lexia. I can identify the different parts of speech. That's going to be like the main standard. And then I can distinguish prepositions from adverbs based on how they're used in a sentence. That's going to be like the more specific thing I'm going to try to get them to do. Prepositions and adverbs. So on Monday, we're going to make a poster. So they're going to have, I'm going to check for understanding and look at their poster. And then that'll be like my assessing their knowledge for that day. Tuesday, I'm going to be assessing how they do in the grammar station specifically. I'm not going to tell them. I'm going to tell them all the stations are important, but that grammar station specifically is what I'm going to check for. Wednesday, the quizzes station is what I'm going to be looking at the most. And then Thursday, I'm going to give them a little quiz. And Friday, I'm going to check their Lexia goal. Give them seat copy of notes, preferential seating, mixed grouping, and Lexia. Mixed grouping and the different collaborative groupings I'm going to do throughout the week are going to be my proof of differentiation, modification, accommodation. All right, so there are 2 different templates that I use because we teach 90-minute blocks. So I have to plan for 90 minutes. So I'll do it one of 2 ways. Either I'll chunk it like this, 45 minutes and 45 minutes, where I do 45 minutes whole group and then 45 minutes where they do collaborative work together. Or else I'll do it like this, where I'll have 30 minutes whole group and then we split up into stations, and there's 60 minutes for the station. So they have 15 minutes for each rotation. So for Monday, when they come in, I have to do attendance. I have to do a lot of stuff. So I'll have them come in. They will start their Lexia and get some of those minutes in. And then I'll read them some of the Forgotten Girl after they've done some minutes, after I've done my attendance and all that good stuff, right on a Monday morning. And then after we discuss what the week's going to be about, as far as grammar and all the stuff we're going to do for the week, I will start them off with a poster assignment. So I'm going to get them to make a poster. They're going to have to research about a specific part of speech. And I'm going to have a wheel. You can go to those random name wheels, the random generator, and I'm going to plug in all the different parts of speech, and then each student will go up to the board and click the wheel, and it'll spin, and it'll give them which one they're going to do. So they'll either get noun or adjective or adverb or something like that. But I'm going to model what the poster is going to look like for them for an article, because I'm not going to put article up there. Article is just like a, the, and that's like the most simple part of speech. So I'm going to like make a poster for that. And that'll be like my model. Here's what yours should look like for whichever part of speech you have. It should look like this. And if they finish early, I have a grammar packet on their Google Classroom that I've assigned that they're going to work on if they get finished with the poster super early. All right, on Tuesday, here's basically the same thing, but I'll have my 4 stations. Now, my stations, I always have a Lexia station so they can get minutes in on Lexia. I always have an independent reading station because I really think it's important to have some time to read for enjoyment and to read, anything you want. So like they'll be able to read whatever book they want for 15 minutes, like their sacred independent reading time. So on Tuesday, I'm going to have a small group with me where I use some Lexia skill builders with my different groups, and then a writing station where I want them to write about something like a dream that they've had, but I want them to circle any nouns and underline any verbs. Okay, so that's Tuesday. Wednesday is also a station day. I'm just going to do stations 3 times this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So for my Wednesday stations, I'm going to have Alexia independent reading. I'm going to have a quizzes station, which will give me like kind of a little bit of data on their parts of speech. I'm just going to find a part of speech quizzes, and that's the one they're going to have to do for that station. And then at the writing station, they're going to have to write a story, a narrative about whatever they like, but they're going to have to use some adverbs and some prepositions this time and highlight them. So I'm planning on that to be a little difficult. I might lower that number to 3 and 3, but we'll just see how they do. All right. Thursday is not a station day because we're going to use a foldable. I don't know if y'all know the I'm Lovin' Lit interactive notebook things, but I have bought all of them, and we're going to do, I'll put up a picture or something of the one we're going to do for the prepositions and the adverbs. We will do that foldable. That day will be a little fun. I'll show them some Schoolhouse Rock videos to refresh their memories. I'll do a little bit of small group instruction, and I will, if we have time, maybe play a Blue Kit with them, which they really love. And then on Friday, we will do stations again, but one of my stations on Friday is going to be, I like on Fridays to do some one-on-one conferencing with them. So it's kind of different. There'll be a small group with me, but when they get to that station, I'm just going to be pulling them from that station for me, one-on-one. And we'll talk and we'll look at their grades together, and we will talk about anything they've not understood that week, or if they need extra help, and we'll just, have that relationship building time one-on-one. And then I like to do a game station on Friday. So I have some like ELA related games, and I will put those at the game station, and they love to do a game station. On this day also, during the whole group time, I'm going to give them a little quiz. It'll just be a formative assessment, but I'll give them a little quiz on paper because a lot of my students like to take their quizzes on paper instead of the Chromebooks, and we will have our little morning meeting time. All right, so that is my planner. On my Google Classroom, I just wanted to show y'all real quick how I organize my stuff in my classwork tab. So if you can see, I have like weeks. So we're in week 12, so that's going to be week 12 right here. I always organize them the same way. I always have a folder at the top, materials for the week, and then I do it by whatever that week is, point 1, point 2, so you have 12.1, 12.2. So that's what my Google Classroom is going to look like this week. And then these are going to be the bell ringers that I have posted since it's November 1st and 2nd this week, I did a little Day of the Dead theme. And I've got my, make sure you come in and get on Lexia, and then I'm going to read to you. And then down here is the names of the groups. So the groups will look like this, and I'll change the different rotations for the 4 rotations we do, but I just have that popped up there. I always have to change the names around based on who's absent and who's not. So I just copy and paste that every week, and I just change that around.
All right, thank you guys so much. Please be sure to check out my blog, like this video, it really helps, and subscribe to my channel, and I will hit you up with another blog soon. Thank you.